In the loops after the slaying of the white whale, Subert had only spoken to Beatrice once in the Forbidden Library. The purpose of that conversation was to convince her to escape from the witch cult, but she refused, and in the end, the girl was left in the mansion all alone. While he could no longer remember everything they had discussed, looking back there was just one fact that he could not miss. Beatrice, at that point in time, had asked him about Rem, who was supposed to have returned with him. By that time, the handwritten letter had already turned blank when it reached the mansion. In other words, the conversation took place after Rem had been attacked by the St. Archbishops, and Beatrice, who had never seemed to care much about Rem up to that point, had suddenly asked about her. Answer me. Do you remember Rem, who used to live in this mansion? He wanted her to remember. She must remember. Thinking this, Subaru's voice distorted toward the end. The depths of his memories confirmed this, and his ever-weakening heart, so close to sinking, to drowning, yearning to be revived, would not deny this. Beatrice silently stared at Subaru. Within her pupils there was neither feeling nor emotion. What she was thinking was impossible to read. Normally she was a girl whose emotions are easy to understand, but at this moment Subaru could not pick up anything at all. His teeth itched. It was as if time stood still, and Subaru's heart was burning down to ashes. Hey, why don't you say anything? Why don't you say anything? Why don't you say anything? Hey, why don't you say anything? You either remember or you don't. It's not a difficult question to answer. Of course, there was only one answer he wanted to hear. Of course, there was only one answer he wanted to hear. That Beatrice remembers Rem, and that she would laugh at the sheer stupidity of his question. And that she would laugh at the sheer stupidity of Subaru's question. Memories eaten. Memories eaten, names swallowed, removed from the world. What an idiotic notion that is. What a stupid notion that is. Just what a stupid notion that is. Let her feel as he feels. Let her feel that same indignation at the cruel outrageousness of this world. Or even if they could just share the common reality of it. Or even if they could just share the common reality of her existence. Perhaps they would find a solution together, and that would be enough. So tell me you know her. Like Emilia. Just like Emilia, like Crush. So tell me you know her. Tell me you know her. Like Emilia, like Crush, like Wilhelm, like all the others. Rem, don't tell me you have forgotten her. To hear her answer, dreading to hear her answer, agitation, contradiction, his emotions wrenched and twisted. Then to Subaru's faltering, convulsing heart, Beatrice spoke. I don't want to answer. I don't want to answer. She turned her gaze away from Subaru, answering neither yes or no, losing his breath with a ha. For an instant his mind stopped. Bewildered, flinging his arms in the air. Wait, what? What? Wait. What do you mean you don't want to answer this? No, I don't know what you mean by yes or no, I suppose. And my answer will never change. I don't want to answer. I'm saying that isn't an answer. His arms down. Forward furiously, the girl sitting on the step ladder did not even glance at his intense posture. tense gesture, and only firmly closed her lips. Seeing her obstinate attitude, flames engulfed his chest, impossible to stop. Those are not words I want to hear from you. What does Betty have to answer in words you want to hear, I suppose? Stop making a fuss. The library will get disordered, I suppose. You... Subaru stormed toward Beatrice, a face that does not even want to... The face that did not even want to look at him. Subaru wanted to force it around and ask her face to face. How could she say something so heartless? But the moment he was about to touch her, Beatrice looked at Subaru, and then, in that instant, her eyes were filled with waves of emotion. Subaru's hand stopped. And then, in that instant, her eyes filled with waves of emotion. Subaru's hand stopped. Because it was as if that question of yours, a word's querying about someone eaten by gluttony. So you, this sort of thing, if one is familiar with the authority of gluttony, is not difficult to deduce, I suppose. Roswell, too, is not difficult to deduce, I suppose. It's not difficult to deduce, I suppose. Roswell, too, and Nietzsche, and Scholler would all know this as well. An unexpected name flying out. Subaru's throat clogged up. Roswell knows the authority of gluttony. Roswell knows the authority of gluttony. Does that mean there might be a chance that he remembers Rem? Roswell knowing the authority of gluttony. Does that mean there might be a chance that he remembers Rem? Before that, how much do you guys know about the witch cult? No, but before that, how much do you guys know about the witch cult? Even Roswell would know. Even Roswell should have known that once Amelia's identity as half-alpha was known to the public. Once Amelia's identity as half-alpha was known to the public, the witch cult would start taking action. Yet if I didn't do anything, the mansion... the mansion and the village all have been destroyed. What's going on? There's no way he didn't plan anything. That was what Ram and Cruson told me. Yet, it looks like he didn't prepare for anything at all. Because if he did, how it ended up so catastrophically? Betty doesn't know how much Roswell has thought about it, I suppose. But I don't know. But I don't think that Roswell... would have thought nothing about it. Betty doesn't know how much Roswell has thought about it, I suppose. But I don't think Roswell would have thought nothing on it. His brows trying to pick out some indication Roswell's preparations at work during the battle against Betelgeuse. Yet no matter how much Subaru searched through his memories, couldn't find anything of the sort. Is it a misconception? Are we overestimating his capabilities? If Roswell did something, then why was I faced with so much trouble? If you don't know, then no one could possibly know. Her sigh carried a color of disappointment. Beatrice seemed to have given up on his lack of understanding. Though he was displeased by her attitude, I was dismayed. I was displeased. By her attitude. Subaru noticed the conversation as straight off topic. Wait, compared to that, if you know something about the witch call, tell me everything. About the St. Archbishop of Gluttony, there's a mountain of things I want to ask you, and this too. One after another, Subaru wanted to ask me just everything. He put his hand to his jacket, took out a book with a black binding. The book, dirtied with blackish blood on the cover and partially on the inside, was the loot he received after a fierce battle. Against a formidable opponent several days ago.